February.
Well, you know what though? We were thinking about names the other day, and the VP Austin Fugelstad, who offered us the invitation to come on to the Brawl Network, wanted to call it Packers Brawl, and I'm like, well, it just sounds so generic. Everyone has a podcast named Packers something or Lombardi this or Lambo that,
Isn't there
and
isn't there a Hellas Hall brawl that
yeah,
you
that
guys always
so
mention it?
he's a co-host of that show.
Okay.
But he's also the VP of this company.
He's a VP. He's the
Yep.
VP of the Brawl
Okay.
Network, and
Sure.
it's growing so much. Like they've added on, I believe, 9 or 10 teams, not including us. We just accepted the offer over the weekend, and with that, the name just I just was Jay. I'm like, dude, there's nothing named Titletown. Why don't we call it Titletown Brawl? And he goes, oh my god, I love it. And I'm like, there it is, done. Like it. We were trying to think something like cheesy or something like that, and it just hit me. I'm like, there's
Yeah.
nothing named Titletown as a podcast. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome. That's great.
that's
That's great news for you guys. I'm happy for both of you. You guys
Well,
deserve it, and
oh,
I'm happy to
don't
see
forget,
both of
we're
you
still
succeed.
not forgetting you, man. You're still going to come on the show and be a guest,
Oh,
dude.
I know that. I'm happy. I'm glad that you guys. I mean, you guys persevered through all this stuff with the First and Goal podcast and got your name out there, and now you're going onward and upward. And
Well,
good.
well.
once we heard the listeners' difference of what the Brawl Network gets versus what we were getting, we're like, done deal. Let's go do it.
Yeah, sure.
Well, it's just the look. It's
So
like
hold on.
everybody
So let me
likes
get
our.
this straight.
Go
So
ahead.
it's going to be the exact same format as what we're doing now, except it's going to be on the different network.
Yep.
They're using our show to put on their media network, their
Oh,
media network platform,
gotcha. All right.
I will.
but
I
just we're
will.
renamed
I'm no
Titletown Brawl.
longer. I will no longer be paying for Spreaker. I will be on their account. I will still be the producer. I'll still be doing the
Yep.
same thing I'm doing, but the burden of paying for it is off. The marketing,
Nice.
I will not be in charge. We will not. All we have to do now is our Twitter, our social media. They will be
Awesome.
promoting the hell out of us. They make our headers. I believe they're doing intro music and whatever we
Wow.
need.
That's
If we want to get a guest, they have inner networks for players. They will help us book guests. We can do all
eh,
that on our own, but it is just so much different for us. We're two dads. We've done the best we can. We've tried. There's just not enough time in the day with everything we got going on outside of
sure.
the actual football. That takes a lot of time, and then marketing is difficult. You have to grind on marketing on
Oh,
a whole separate level. And
yeah.
as much as we tried, we kind of hit a plateau. And I was even getting to the point where I was starting to call the colleges and trying to get some interns in and figuring out calling some people I knew that were into marketing, and
Hmm.
it just didn't work out. And so this was the best move for us, and I'm glad we
Awesome.
did it because it's
Oh
going to be
yeah.
so much easier,
Glad.
and I think it'll make our football stuff a lot better too because we can concentrate on it and focus a hell of a lot more.
Well, also too, Parker. I mean, you know the amount of shows. It's almost like every day we had a new episode coming out
Yep.
because we record live. We were putting out 4 or 5 shows a week,
Yeah.
and it just became so much. We're like, wow! Like, and all of a sudden, Austin hit us up, um, and we couldn't pass it up. I mean, jumping up to that next level of going from like independent to an actual a football media network platform is huge. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the only difference now is we'll only be doing 3 shows a week, and
yeah,
then
that's
once
the
every
thing. Just
it, we'll
three.
we'll go from 5 to 3, combining a
Okay.
lot of stuff, and then we'll still be
We're
doing the
moving to a new
NFC
time
North.
slot too.
Yep. And we're gonna move into a primetime time slot. So we'll be live.
8:30 p.m.
You guys know what the days will be or no?
There'll still be
Tuesdays,
Tuesdays and
Thursdays.
Thursdays
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Sundays after the games. Um,
Gotcha. All right.
but we'll be at 8:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays Eastern, which puts us at 5:30 West Coast time for all of you people stuck in rush hour traffic.
The
You'll be
prime
able to
time
listen.
slot.
You'll listen to the Titletown Brawl. So
Yeah, I'm in
good
Central
traffic.
Time, so
Hey, Parker, were you listening to the show before when we first got on? Because I found a stat on Adams for fourth down since 2017. Would you like me to reiterate them?
sure. Yeah.
So I was actually astonished by this, and Also, too, another side stat: Adams last 4 games, 4 touchdowns. Just saying,
fun.
it seems like that turf
Averaging
toe's healed
touchdown
up.
per game. I'll
He
take that.
he's back to being Tay.
Oh
I
yeah.
call him when he's in the zone. I call him Tay. He did drop 3 passes, but he still made some pretty
No,
gnarly catches.
I'm gonna call him Tay.
But the fourth down play and when he scored that touchdown, this is what I call kill mode for Adams because since 2017, and I brought this up to Jay, when he had Mr. Brett Hundley as his QB, he still has these numbers: 13 targets, 9 receptions, 144 yards, 3 touchdowns. He leads in every stat for that in any wide receiver for fourth down since 2017. He just dominates on fourth down, especially if he knows he has to keep the drive going. I mean, there was a couple plays where I know there was a couple turnover on downs we had today that Adams was clearly held or had pass interference against him because I clearly saw Buster Skrine grabbing the back of his jersey and it was stretched out to the point where I can read his numbers sideways. But I mean seriously, it was that bad. But yeah, he had some calls that didn't go his way for the refs. But even though, I mean, fourth down, come on.
Yeah.
144 yards on fourth down since 2017, including having Brett Hundley as your QB. That's ridiculous.
He's elite. People don't want to admit it, but he's up there with OBJ, with Julio Jones. He's up there. People don't want to admit it, but it's true.
Hey, speaking of Julio, putting a team on his back, Atlanta, walking into San Francisco, last play of the game.
Not expect that.
49ers dropped because of Atlanta getting hot towards the late end of the season.
I gotta give you credit today because you did mention that fact that
Richard Sherman, Kwan Williams, and Tart were all out today for San Fran. They did not have anybody that could touch Julio on that field. I think he had like a $150, $160, 2 touchdowns. He tore up San Fran's defense.
Man, if only we would have had that against San Fran, I think we would have stood a better shot.
No, Parker, we have
would
a
you have
story on
rather
that.
have beat them then and lose to them in the playoffs, or
Yeah,
lose to them in
exactly.
the
I was
regular
just
season
gonna
and-
reiterate that. I was gonna say, but we could still get a chance at him in the postseason. So I'll take that.
Well, who knows? We might not even get a chance at him at the playoffs. You want to know why? Because if we get the bye, I just looked at the field. They would play in the wild card weekend, and I'm watching teams like Atlanta beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm on a high right now.
Same.
We swept the Bears. We knocked them out of the playoffs. We clinched
Also,
the playoff spot today.
Speaking of the Bears, one more win for Green Bay next year in the rivalry, we're gonna hit 100 wins.
Yep. And we won the 200th meeting today. It's like 4 biggies we hit today in the Bears rivalry.
Yep.
lead the series now by three games.
Mm-hmm. 99, 96, and 5, if I'm correct.
Yes.
How do you get 5 ties over an all-time series? That's what I want to know. In old-time games. Like, did they even have ties back then?
I don't know how that would have worked. I don't even know if they would have had a statistician
Shirley
back then.
Lambeau had like 22 ties as a head coach.
Yeah, I saw that when he went into the all-time 100-year coaching team.
That is a fascinating show, is it not? That
dude,
show, you would think it would be boring, but
into every player and coach.
Gosh, it is fascinating.
What show?
The
all-time 100.
Oh yeah, the all-time
NFL
team.
Network,
Yeah.
when they go through each of the different positions, it's just fascinating how the players they come up with, and when they delve in and the film, and it just. I'm a nerd, I guess, about football, so it's cool.
Yeah, they had Bill Belichick on during the coaching part of it, and they had Lombardi. Vince Lombardi was not named one of the all-time coaches for the all-time team, and they were just asking him, like, how do you feel about when people call you the modern-day Lombardi and all this? And he was just trying to be short with them, kind of like the "we're on to Cincinnati" type of answer.
He didn't want no part of that question.
Kurt Warner was badgering him, trying to get an answer out of him. He was just trying to be real short and didn't really want to answer. So, but I mean, he is a legend.
He is a legend, but that shows you the reverence of even somebody like him thinks of Lombardi. And that by the way, that should completely dispel the notion that anybody thinks they can rename this trophy the Belichick Trophy because he's won.
Yeah.
That right
especially
there,
after this whole Cincinnati Bengals ordeal.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, it's not even that. It's just when a guy like that, most guys would sit there and answer it even if they'd say no. The fact he won't even answer it and just wants to dismiss it, and you could see his face went into press conference mode. He was sorry, it's making me laugh. He was irritated as hell, and it was like if that kind of thing irritates him, that should tell you all you need to know about how he feels about Vince Lombardi. Like, you don't get irritated when somebody's trying to flatter you if you don't hold that person up on this huge pedestal. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so quick question, guys. So, like I said, Ahman Green had the 20 touchdown mark for receiving and rushing back in his prime. I'm looking at the Viking game already, and Aaron Jones ran 23 times for 116 yards and a touchdown. Also added 6 catches for 34 yards. The Vikings are hurting even worse on defense right now because their secondary has been torn up this year. Jaron Kearse is out probably again next week. Rhodes is still questionable. I mean, you're getting a bunch of defensive players out on that secondary. Plus, I just looked at this. The disrespect Jay just talked about, guess what the spread just opened up at?
4-point favorites?
4-point favorites over Green Bay at home. So we're the division leaders. We beat them once already in the regular season, but somehow they still have a 4-point swing.
Well, I think that might have to do with something that we haven't won in U.S. Bank, but.
Well, how about the fact Kirk Cousins also hasn't won on Monday Night Football in 8 games?
Something's going to have to give.
He still hasn't. They have 10 wins now, Parker, and all 10 of their wins are against teams sub 500. They have yet to beat a team above 500.
There's no win.
And he's never won on Monday Night Football. So two factors going into this game are going against the Vikings, and yet they still are favored. I don't get that. And yet everybody loves stats so much, but they don't want to come up with the actual stats that prove that this team is overrated. It just is.
Yeah. And Dalvin Cook's injury, that's going to be a huge factor too.
I don't think he's playing next week, guys.
Madsen is out too. He was hurt.
Well, no, hold on with Cook. I watched that game when he got in. I watched the part where he got injured. He literally picked up a air mask, put it to his ear, and was trying to have a conversation like he was on the phone. He's that out of it from a concussion. He ain't playing next week.
Well, that's going to be a huge loss for them.
He put an air mask. I don't know how much I emphasize that. He took an oxygen mask you put on your mouth to breathe in to his ear and was talking like he was on the phone.
Wow.
Minnesota Vikings deleted it from their Twitter. It was on their Twitter account, and they deleted it because they realized how bad it looked for Dalvin Cook.
Somebody screenshotted that.
I sure hope so, because I didn't get a chance to when I went to go back and look at it. It said, failed to load tweet. This tweet's gone. Yep. So Madison's out probably. That Boone is good, though. I like him, but he's no Dalvin Cook. He's no Madison. They have Abdullah, but we've faced Abdullah, and he's nothing special.
Abdullah's been through, 2 to 3 teams now? He was started with Detroit, I think. And then
he was with Detroit. They dumped him, and he went straight to Vikings.
Yeah.
So
I think we have a much better shot than people in the media are giving us. That 4-point swing, I don't know if that's going to play a factor in the game. I don't think it will because, you can throw all the records and stats out the window when you actually start playing the game. Otherwise, if they're 4-point favorites, just don't play the game and crown them.
I just don't understand the whole fact of if the Chargers were halfway decent, today's game wouldn't have been even as far as a blowout as it was.
They did it in Los Angeles, too. So
Gordon freaking fumbled twice. Eckler fumbled. You had Rivers fumbled twice. I think they almost set a record today. There was 5 or 6 fumbles for the Chargers, and they all bounced to the Vikings just magically. So
Well, I will say this though, guys. There's something to be said about it's not always who you play, but when you